What if the very place you feel safest is slowly turning into a cage? That's the heavy, unspoken question that haunted Brian every evening as the firelight danced across his familiar, comfortable walls. He lived in the peaceful village of Stonebrook, a place where days were predictable and hardship was rare. He had a loving wife, Monica, a sturdy cottage, and enough work in his carpenter shop to keep their bellies full. Yet beneath the veneer of contentment, Brian felt a crushing, silent gray wall that enclosed his possibilities, a fence built not of stone, but of habit and ease. He watched the young men of the village set out for new lands, tackle impossible repairs, or invent clever tools, and while he admired their courage, a whisper in his mind always said, "Don't risk your comfort. Stay here where it's warm and known." This whisper was his comfort zone, and it was quickly becoming the master of his destiny. This creeping stagnation was Brian's deepest secret, but not Monica's. One cold morning, watching him idly polish a tool he'd already polished twice, she spoke softly. "Brian, remember when we dreamed of building a finer bridge over the Azure Stream, one that wouldn't wash out every spring thaw? You designed it perfectly, but you never started, saying the old logs were good enough for now." Brian sighed, immediately defensive. "And they are. Why tire myself struggling with a complex arch when the simple fix works? We are safe, Monica. We have everything we need. Why chase difficulty when ease is already ours?" He truly believed this was wisdom, convinced that his fear of failure was just a sensible appreciation for his current stability. He was mistaking peace for progress, and his deepest aspiration to be the master builder of Stonebrook was slowly being buried under layers of unnecessary chores and easy excuses. The unease grew until Brian could bear it no longer. He decided to seek the counsel of Ronan, the oldest man in Stonebrook, a retired woodworker renowned not for his speed, but for the profound beauty and complexity of his intricate carvings. Ronan lived alone on the edge of the forest, surrounded by stacks of seasoned wood and the quiet wisdom of the trees. Brian found him meticulously finishing a small, beautiful sculpture of a fruit of peach, perfect in every detail. Brian explained his dilemma: the gray wall, the desire to grow, and the powerful pull of staying right where he was. He concluded, "Ronan, I want to leave my comfort zone, but I fear the outside will crush me. Tell me the truth about comfort. Is it not a blessing?" Ronan didn't speak for a long moment. He simply held up the wooden peach, its surface smooth and warm. "Brian," he began, his voice like the low rush of a creek, "let me tell you about the seed. Not the planted seed, but the seed in the dry storehouse. It lives in perfect comfort. No wind, no rain, no threat. It is surrounded by darkness and ease. It is content, waiting. Yet that seed which does not strain, which does not risk cracking its shell and pushing toward the light, will never become the fruit it was meant to be. It will instead slowly shrivel and rot in its perfect, safe comfort. Its safety is its sentence." The old man then pointed to a rough, unfinished piece of cedar lying near his bench. "And then there is the river, Brian. Look at this wood. I can carve a straight channel for the water to flow, and it will be comfortable, slow, and shallow. But the river you see in the valley, the one with power, depth, and song, that river gains its strength only when it encounters resistance. When it hits the hard boulders, it churns and gains momentum. When it curves around the steep bank, it digs deeper. It is the obstacles, the challenging edges of its banks, that define its shape, its journey, and its true, powerful flow. If the river avoids the uncomfortable turns and only flows across flat, soft land, it becomes a swamp-wide, stagnant, and still." Ronan laid the peach back down, his eyes locking onto Brian's. "The truth of your comfort zone, my son, is this. It is an illusion of protection. It promises rest but delivers rust. You are a craftsman. You know that the blade that is never sharpened, never rubbed against the coarse stone, stays dull and useless. Fear has convinced you that contentment is the absence of risk. But true contentment, the kind that satisfies the soul, is the result of meeting a worthy challenge. Your gray wall is merely the visible boundary of your unused potential, the space where you stopped asking yourself, 'What more could I do?' So what do I do, wise Ronan?" Brian asked, suddenly eager but still nervous. "How do I break the wall without destroying myself?" Ronan smiled gently. "You do not need to tear down the whole wall today, Brian. You only need to crack the mortar. You spoke of the bridge, the arch you put aside. That is your first stone. The challenge of the arch is uncomfortable because it requires new knowledge and new skill. That discomfort is the signal that you are growing, not shrinking. Go home, start the plans, gather the materials, and tell your heart, today, I choose the difficulty that leads to strength over the ease that leads to decay. Choose one great thing you have been avoiding, and start it immediately. Brian returned to Stonebrook not with a grand plan, but with a fierce, quiet resolve. He told Monica of his conversation, and she smiled, her eyes confirming her long-held belief in him. The next morning, Brian walked straight past the simple logs he usually used and began sketching the intricate, precise angles needed for the arch bridge. The first week was agonizing. His hands cramped from calculating the new joinery. His mind ached from balancing loads, and his pride stung every time he made a mistake. There were days he wanted to throw his tools into the creek and retreat to his easy, predictable repairs. But every time, he remembered the seed rotting in the storehouse and pushed on, fueled by a new kind of energy, the satisfaction of struggle. Weeks turned into a full season of difficult, rewarding labor. Monica helped by keeping the ledgers and cheering him on. Finally, the elegant arch bridge spanned the azure stream, stronger and more beautiful than anyone in Stonebrook had imagined. It wasn't just a physical structure. It was a testament to Brian's choice to be defined by his potential, not his fears. Standing on the completed bridge, Brian looked back toward his life. The gray wall was gone, replaced by a horizon that stretched wide and inviting. He realized the comfort zone had never been a solid place. It was just a small, shallow rut he had worn into the earth, and all it took to escape was one difficult step in a new direction. Brian learned that day that life's true treasures are found not in the spaces where there is nothing to fear, but in the places where we conquer fear. He became the master builder he was meant to be, always seeking the next great, uncomfortable challenge. And his contentment was now genuine, earned by the sweat of effort and the expansion of his own capabilities. Your comfort zone isn't a map of where you live. It's a map of where you stop growing. The truth is, the only way to keep your comfort zone safe is to continuously push its boundaries, making yourself stronger to handle whatever comes next. If this story helped illuminate the true cost of staying stagnant, please like and subscribe to the channel for more inspirational tales and wisdom from the old masters. We love hearing your perspective, so please comment your opinion below. What is one small, uncomfortable challenge you are going to take on this week? Let us know.